back in schedule because he's showing signs of fatigue, which is ridiculous. I mean, does this look like a man who is showing signs of fatigue?
We're going to build ships, $150 billion worth of ships in America that changes the way things work.
We also rescinded the supplemental statement that discouraged.
Who's the genius that thought of that? I said, it's me. Unlike Biden, I stay awake at night thinking about how to save our country. He was much better at sleeping than me. Could sleep on a beach. He could sleep on a beach with cameras rolling. I can't do that.
What on earth just exploded on live TV? Jimmy Kimmel didn't roast Donald Trump. He lit the match and walked away after Trump appeared to nod off mid-broadcast. But that moment? That was only the spark. Now the internet is spiraling as quiet whispers about Trump's health turn into full-blown speculation. Viewers are replaying the clip. Late-night jokes are getting darker. And behind the laughter, doctors are allegedly raising eyebrows in ways comedy writers couldn't invent if they tried. Stay with us, because what Kimmel said, how Trump reacted, and what medical insiders are hinting at next will leave you laughing, stunned, and glued to the screen wondering how this just became the most surreal moment on television.
Poor guy, he hasn't been the same since Jeffrey Epstein died, you know? You lose a friend.
What part of your body was the MRI looking at?
Well, guess what? He still doesn't know why he got it or even where.
I have no idea. It was just an MRI. What part of the body? It wasn't the brain because I took a cognitive test.
You know, the one he still has no idea why he was given? Does this seem like the rambling of a man who aced a cognitive exam? There is a new word for a Trump Republican. Trumplicans. What about dinosaurs? I mean, or maybe just...
You're enjoying this. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. It helps more than you realize. The moment Donald Trump appeared to drift off during a live appearance, Jimmy Kimmel didn't hesitate. He charged straight into comedic chaos, turning an awkward on-air pause into must-see television. As the cameras kept rolling, Trump seemed to slip into a peaceful dreamland, and the rest of the world leaned in, watching every second unfold.
The science of reading in schools.
This war started, it never would have happened if you'd been president. But this war is going on, and the president is trying to end it, not because, listen, we got a million things to focus on in the world as a country, but he's the only leader in the world that can help end it. And that's why that's why even as we speak to you now,
On deregulation, HHS proudly is now leading the pack.
The timing was so perfect it felt scripted, except nothing about that slow, heavy eyelid drop suggested rehearsal. This wasn't strategy. It was gravity winning. A man giving in with the calm assurance of someone who genuinely believes naps are a constitutional right.
The president a prostate exam with Marco Rubio poking his nose up there all the time. Our president is scheduled for his annual checkup tomorrow at Walter Reed Hospital. And it's smart to do this sort of thing before Halloween. If he gets a clean bill of health, he can continue his annual tradition of eating all Eric's trick-or-treat candy. The White House has already released the results. He is 7'2", 180 pounds, and his erections can deadlift a Cybertruck. So, congratulations.
Kimmel, naturally, handled the moment with all the delicacy of a confetti cannon fired indoors. The late-night stage instantly turned into a playground of exaggerated reenactments and over-the-top retellings, each one bigger and more animated than the last. Trump's brief detour into sleep morphed into a full-blown comedic saga, the kind nobody saw coming, but everyone immediately needed.
Tell us again how sleepy Joe is, will you? Of course he's tired. He was up all night posting. When he wasn't sleeping, Rip Van Winkle was lying. He said, grocery prices are down. They're not down. He said he's cutting prescription drug prices 900%. That's ridiculous. In the brief time he was conscious, though, he had a lot to say.
The Lincoln bathroom is now gorgeous. I took my physical. I got all A's, everything. I should get the Nobel Prize for every war, but I don't want to.
Suddenly, the internet lit up like someone had rebooted the entire system just for this moment. But it wasn't the nap alone that fueled the frenzy. Whispers about Trump's health began swirling at full speed, each rumor louder and more dramatic than the last. His team rushed to insist everything was fine. But the public imagination had already packed its bags and booked a one-way flight to dramatic Conclusion Island. Viewers started dissecting every blink, every pause, every strangely timed facial expression like it was a national pastime. What may have been a brief moment of human exhaustion instantly transformed, in Kimmel's hands, into a comedic artifact destined for endless replays as clips ricocheted across social platforms. People zoomed in like detectives trained exclusively on memes. The freeze frames alone could have powered a week's worth of content. Some swore he drifted off peacefully. Others claimed they witnessed the exact second the battle was lost. Either way, the moment locked itself in as the most unexpected, damned unavoidable highlight of the news cycle.
Talking to the reporters on Air Force One, for whatever reason, after the White House had been trying to keep it swept under the rug, he revealed that he had an MRI when he had that physical, and revealed that he took a cognitive test, which he aced, of course, much more so than any dumb lady Democrat could.
They have Jasmine Crockett, a low IQ person. They have AOC's low IQ. You give her an IQ test, have her pass like the exams that I decided.
Meanwhile, the health updates rolling out added an even stranger layer to the spectacle. The messaging from Trump's circle bounced between total confidence and oddly precise disclaimers, the kind that only invite more speculation. And the public, famously incapable of shrugging things off, certainly wasn't about to start when a televised nap landed mid-sentence. That's when the armchair physicians arrived in force, diagnosing everything except boredom. Kimmel took that chaos, turned it into a stadium, and sold out every seat. What made it all even funnier was the intense seriousness with which some tried to explain the moment. Exhaustion, stress, allergies, studio lighting, room temperature, even cosmic interference. Name it! Someone pitched it. Yet no explanation could compete with the purity of the image itself, Trump slowly folding into a quiet slumber while the world watched like an audience at a magic show, waiting to see whether it was part of the act now.
Healthcare plan within 2 weeks. A full and complete healthcare plan.
Just a yes or no, you still do not have a plan.
I have concepts of a plan.
First, I have to grab my P.F. Chang's out of the microwave, and then I'll have the whole plan for you. He's been saying this since 2015. At what point are we the idiots? Speaking of idiots, Robert Kennedy Jr. and his anti-vax advisors.
Then came the avalanche of health commentary. Every headline hinted that something major was wrong, even when the details were laughably vague. The updates felt like a roller coaster. The contradictions practically begged to be turned into late-night gold. Kimmel didn't need to exaggerate, but he did anyway because that's the job, and no one does theatrical exaggeration quite like him. One beat, he reenacted the now infamous sleep slump. The next, he treated the health speculation like a melodramatic soap opera twist. The audience devoured it. That blend of absurdity and reality is comedy catnip. The nap itself became symbolic. Some called it a mistake. Others found it oddly relatable. A few treated it like an omen of bigger things to come. But to Kimmel, it was simply an irresistible target, and he chased it with the joy of someone handed a full comedy buffet after months of surviving on crackers.
She go against Trump. Let Jasmine go against Trump. I don't think Jasmine, the first couple of questions are easy. A tiger, an elephant, a giraffe, you know. When you get up to about 5 or 6, and then when you get up to 10 and 20 and 25, they couldn't come close to answering any of those questions.
Now, you know what? There's only one way to find out. Let's do it on TV. Let's put together the biggest and greatest IQ test.
The health update chatter only deepened the fascination. Headlines veered wildly, hinting at everything from secret medical concerns to carefully vague statements that explained almost nothing. And while real health issues are no laughing matter, the spectacle of the messaging, confusing, contradictory, and often oddly worded, handed Kimmel an endless supply of material. He aimed his jokes not at the condition, but at the chaos of the communication itself. The murkier the updates became, the sharper his sarcasm grew. Trump, unsurprisingly, pushed back with his familiar mix of confidence and dismissal, insisting everything was perfectly fine. But the timing worked against him. Each new clip, even alternate camera angles, gave Kimmel fresh fuel. And he kept escalating, drawing viewers back just to see how far he'd go next. Before long, the segment outgrew the moment. It became a running gag, woven into other stories, other punchlines, other setups. The nap was no longer just an awkward pause. It had become a landmark. A turning point in late-night comedy's ongoing narrative.
Cloud dancer is the color of the earth, also known as white. White is the color. Trump was pulling for orange, of course. He is, you know, we're all aware of how hungry for praise he is constantly, but I'm always surprised by how eager his suck-ups are to feed it to him. There is a nonpartisan agency called the U.S. Institute for peace. And earlier this year, the Trump administration slashed their funding. They threatened to take over their building. But I guess in an effort to appease him, a compromise.
More reactions flooded in from commentators, analysts, pundits, and even people who usually ignored politics altogether. The moment broke free from its subject and slipped straight into entertainment culture. No one was debating policy or parsing speeches. They were dissecting the fine art of accidental napping. Kimmel steered that conversation like the captain of a deeply sarcastic ship sailing through very dramatic waters. The health questions kept simmering, but each new update somehow sounded stranger than the last. Public-facing messages shifted constantly, reassuring one moment, mysteriously vague the next, until the statements themselves were being scrutinized more intensely than the nap that started it all. Kimmel grabbed those inconsistencies and stretched them into pure comedic elasticity, turning every contradiction into a punchline waiting to land. The saga grew more compelling with each passing day, not because of new revelations, but because the reactions kept mute. People weren't just watching Trump anymore. They were watching everyone else react to Trump, and from that vantage point, Kimmel had a panoramic view of endless comedic gold.
Trump versus Jasmine Crockett, Crockett versus Tubbs, and AOC. Let's make this happen. I'm serious. I mean, I'm willing to do whatever. I'll host it. I'll produce the whole thing. I'll pay for it. Grandpa Don's Dementia Bowl, folks. Maybe we could make it the undercard before that UFC fight they're having on the White House lawn. All proceeds go to fund the government. We seriously need to do this. I'm sure the president would win.
The story kept expanding. The tone kept shifting. The humor kept stacking, weaving itself into an unfolding narrative that showed no signs of slowing. The momentum rolled forward, seemingly powered by its own absurdity. What began as a split-second on-camera snooze ballooned into a full-blown cultural marathon, and everyone involved appeared determined to keep pace. The internet treated the moment like a rare collectible, polishing it, reframing it, and redistributing it with the enthusiasm of a holiday sale. Through it all, Kimmel maintained a steady stream of commentary, so sharp it could cut through reinforced steel. Even as health rumors thickened like overcooked gravy, the comedy only intensified. Every update sounded like it was drafted by a committee unable to decide whether to calm the public or quietly induce panic. His reenactments evolved from simple impressions into full theatrical productions. A health spokesperson clearing their throat too slowly. It was folded into the story. A camera catching Trump blinking just a beat too long, instantly promoted to highlight real material.
Our president appears to be deeply unwell, even for him. There's been a lot of speculation about his mental and physical health, but last night he went on Truth Social to let us know he's doing great. There's nothing wrong with him. Should I go over here or over here? Okay, so this post about his health is twice as long as the Gettysburg Address. That's not a joke. And it starts with a bang. There has never been a president that has...
By this point, the audience wasn't just watching the news for information, they were tuning in to see what angle Kimmel would spin next. Even people who usually avoided political chatter found themselves drawn in, captivated by the sheer surreal energy surrounding a nap that refused to disappear. Clips circulated endlessly. Dramatic edits set Trump's slow-motion eyelid descent to orchestral music. Animations reenacted the moment with overthought flair, and Kimmel stood above it all like a curator surveying a museum of irony. He pounced on every inconsistency with surgical timing, targeting the spectacle, the messaging, the confusion, the drama, never the actual medical concerns, which he treated with the distant caution of someone sidestepping a puddle they don't want on their shoes. Meanwhile, the public analysis reached new heights. People studied the clips like sleep lab experts, offering theories with the confidence of seasoned scientists and the accuracy of fortune cookies. They charted posture, froze frames on micro-expressions, and debated whether the moment of surrender was tactical, accidental, or cosmic. Through it all, Kimmel remained the unofficial conductor of a comedic orchestra, raising the tempo every time the world served up new material.
This is the compromise. This is the building, the United States Institute of Peace. It is now the Donald J. Trump United States Institute of Peace and Casino. They put his name on the building, and he let it remain. A White House spokesperson defended this renaming, claiming the organization was once a bloated, useless entity that blew $50 million per year while delivering no peace. So they named it after another bloated, useless entity that delivered no peace.
The story gained its own gravitational pull. Suddenly, unrelated events were being tied to the nap, as if everything from weather patterns to stock fluctuations might somehow trace back to that brief, televised slumber. Kimmel, of course, leaned into the absurdity with gleeful exaggeration. The wilder the speculation, the more elaborate his commentary became, snowballing into comedic theatrics that could win their own award. Even Trump's attempts to project strength only fueled the fire. His insistence that everything was fine created the perfect contrast, an image of invulnerability, paired with the utterly human act of falling asleep on live television. Kimmel mined that contrast with expert timing, blending sarcasm and theatrical flair into a nightly symphony of mockery. Soon, the discussion spilled far beyond late-night TV. Kimmel highlighted how quickly the simplest moment could be inflated into a dramatic saga worthy of national attention. And the saga kept growing. Every new camera angle, every statement, every slight shift in messaging added another thread to the tapestry. Kimmel tugged at each one, unraveling them into pure comedic gold. It didn't matter whether the updates were grand, trivial, or confusing. He found the angle, twisted it just enough to amplify the irony, and delivered it with his signature mix of confidence and mischief. As reactions piled up, new developments emerged, and his commentary climbed to new heights. The story stretched ever onward, ready to unfold into whatever came next.